Hi, good day. Nice to see all of you once again. Okay, for people who are learners of tourism and advocates of tourism and big fans of tourism and travel and leisure. So this day we have with us Dr. LG Adeline Tan. Good day.
Hi, everyone.
So Dr. Tan is a well-traveled person. She has traveled practically in many parts of the world, from the continent of Europe, continent of America, and of course Asia because she's Chinese. So basically, she has been to almost all parts of the world and very experienced when it comes to travel, tourism, and leisure. She likes to enjoy. Okay, so for this day, we'll be discussing all about the sociology of tourism. This topic is very useful for all learners or students who are enrolled in the course named Micro Perspectives of Travel and Tourism Industry. So as you know, tourism is all about people. That's why we infuse sociology. It's all about society. Okay, let me check. Our slide is not moving. Okay, here. So basically, the objectives of today's session is all about to understand the social nature of travel, describe the social effects of tourism, discuss the socio-economic variables and their effect on travel, describe the new travel pattern. As we all know, we just came from pandemic, so we are now in the post-pandemic era. So what is the new cultural matters all about tourism? So how the tourism landscape changed after pandemic? Explain the
Yeah,
preferences of the international tourists and describe the types of tourist roles and explain the meaning of social tourism. As you know, Dr. Tan is a very sociable person. So she can teach you on how to be more sociable as a tourist.
yeah, I agree because I think the before pandemic and the post pandemic, it has been impacted a lot to a lot of aspect in our life. I think one very important aspect is actually about tourism, and we I think along the way we can share about our personal experience, where actually to differentiate the between before and also post pandemic.
Okay, so as you can see, look at the background of Dr. Tan. She's enjoying in a vacation. I guess it's in Maldives, right, Dr. Tan?
Yeah, this is actually the so-called studio effect, were actually provided by Zoom.
Okay.
Yes.
Why did you reveal? But you can be secret.
Since today's topic is about tourism, yeah, make everybody to see our background so that you will feel relaxed too.
Yeah. Because if we assess from the aspects of tourism, the most relaxing tourism area is the tropics, the one in the island. That's
True,
true.
true,
Yeah,
true.
yeah. Not in winter area because of course in the winter you will die if it's very cold. And like in the tropical setting, you can relax. Don't need to do anything. Everything is there.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can see that the statement of Pope John Paul II, the world's best pope, as they say, the happiest pope ever, and the most traveled pope in the history of our generation, the world is becoming a global village. Unlike in the past many centuries, where countries are isolated against each other, fighting against each other, competing against each other, conquering against each other, but these days is more of the collaborative approach. Like what the very nice saying says, in diversity, there's always unity. So we belong to diverse backgrounds, diverse countries, diverse cultures, but now we're integrating as one. So we miss Pope John Paul, the happiest Pope ever. Of course, no offense to the current Pope, but the current Pope is a bit serious. I really don't know why. Maybe it talks about the sociology of tourism. Like, because this
Yeah.
is the first non-Italian Pope, by the way. In the history of time, all the popes are from Italy. So first time we have Pope from Poland. You know, Poland is a third world country in Europe, a very peaceful community. That's why we have a compassionate Pope. But the current Pope right now, Pope Francis, is from Argentina. As you know, people from Hispanic are a bit strict, a bit formal. That's why if you notice, Pope Francis seldom smiles compared to this Pope John Paul, a happy person, a happy Pope, the most traveled Pope. So he mentioned that the world is becoming a village.
But I think this Pope John can
Mhm.
really forecast the future. Because when you mentioned about the history about him, right? I think those centuries, people not yet really so-called like travel the world. But if you really to see like started even 10 years, 15 years ago, I of course I'm Malaysian. I born in Malaysia, raised in Malaysia, and I still remember I really like one of the statement made by AirAsia. All right, AirAsia is one of our this budgeted so-called airlines, Airbus in Malaysia. And I remember their position statement. They mentioned this: everyone can fly. All right, and those days, if you do not have money, you can't fly easily. You can't go to other country. But it's truly these days, right? He has forecasted really exactly very true that as long as you have money, you are one of the employee or you are working, and you should be able to afford your very so-called reasonable or affordable etiquette to any part of the country. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks to AirAsia, thanks to Chairman Tony Fernandez for opening the doors of the world or the windows of the world to many people. He made it affordable to almost everybody. So right, unlike in the past, airfare is always expensive. Same goes with many things, not just airfare. I think travel packages, what else, even hotel and
Yes.
accommodation these days.
Hotel. Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes. With the competition these days,
with the
truly. Yeah.
competition these days. That's why more
Mm.
competition means more affordable and more
Yes.
competitive products to be offered.
Yeah, that is really true.
Mhm. Even in the past, Wi-Fi services or internet services, it's not easy to have that access. Unlike these days, very affordable, very cheap. You just buy a SIM card in the country of your destination. Once you reach that country, you can buy an affordable SIM card. Like, for example, how much, Dr. Tan? 100 ringgit, right? Or 200 ringgit?
Yeah, I think Malaysia, as long as with I mean the 100 peso, which is
Mhm.
equivalent to our 10 ringgit, you already can get one SIM card,
Mhm.
and then subsequently you can just top up anytime. But having said that, not only the SIM card is cheap or affordable these days, even if regardless where you are book yourself into any accommodation, including the high level or expensive, costly accommodation or hotel, even in the Airbnb, uh, I think the very basic that they provide to the tourists, not only the shower gel, not only the all these so-called toiletries, including Wi-Fi will be one of the basic necessity that they will also cover for the tourists as well when you check in. Mm.
Yeah, very true, Dr. Tan. In fact, in the modified version of the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as they say, even though some people are making fun of it, Wi-Fi is now part of the basic necessity. Yeah, I believe
True,
you've
true,
seen.
true. I believe as we always having these conversations, every part of the world or every part of the shopping mall, the minutes you go anywhere, right? So one thing you will really see, the minutes everybody is sitting down, so the first thing they are not talking to each other or the so-called the person who is next to them. But I think the very first thing or last thing that people do these days is always checking on their handphone.
Yes, almost
Yeah.
everybody in the world are doing that, not just in
Yeah,
Asia.
correct.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but nothing
Yes.
wrong, huh? Because that's how the world evolves. As you know, everything about social cultures evolve. So this is the new generation, and it's not being antisocial. Unlike many decades ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or even 20 years ago, when you keep on holding your phone, you're not socializing with people. You will be branded as an antisocial. But in this modern generation, no, because in your phone you can talk to 100 different people in just one statement. For example, you
Yeah,
send
correct.
something in the group chat, everybody can read that. So instead of talking to one person beside you, using the phone, you can talk to hundreds of people or thousands of people in just one click, right?
Yeah, true, true. Very much agree with Dr. Scott Ifayat.
Yeah. That's why technology or Wi-Fi has been an excellent partner in your travel
Yes,
and tourism.
yes,
So yeah, briefly, we read this important points about the social effects of tourism, which, to give credit, this was crafted by the faculty members of the National University in Manila, specifically the College of Hospitality and Tourism. As you know, these days, in the past, tourism as just being considered as enjoyment, excursion, or adventure. But these days, when you say tourism, it's now a field of expertise. It's also an academic discipline. It's also a professional expertise. Also, that's why it's important that in order for us to provide excellent tourism experience to many people, we should especially you people who are attending here, should master or should specialize. So you should solidify their knowledge about tourism. So basically, the social relations between people who would not normally meet. What else? The confrontation of different cultures, ethnic groups, lifestyles, languages, levels of prosperity, and the like, and behavior of people released from many of the social and economic constraints of everyday life. The behavior of the host population, which has to reconcile economic gain and benefits with the cost of living with strangers. Like, for example, try to imagine we Asians have assumed that everyone in our nearby countries have the same or similar culture. Same also with how Europeans view Asians. They thought that all Asians are the same. But surprisingly, once you travel to your neighbor country in Asia, you'll be seeing the huge difference, right, Dr. Tan? What's your
Very
experience
much
with
different. Really, really, that is true. I actually wanted to also stop Dr. Scott Tibayan about this. Um, I think because I travel to I remember the first time when I traveled to Spain. Let's talk about Spain first, because I understand that Philippines is was has been one of the colonial country of Spain. So I remember the first time back in those days, I think it was in 2018 or slightly before. So when we travel to Spain, right? So 6 cities in Spain, and the very, very first thing, and every day, our tour guide always emphasize this. Remember, remember, and do remember. Don't simply go and use the CR in any restaurant. If you wanted to use any facility, public facility in any restaurant, please get something from the restaurant. Let's say example, the restaurant is offer McDonald. So please get something from the restaurant, then only use their public facility. Because Malaysian, okay, I'm not sure about Philippines, okay, but Malaysia, I would tell you our culture is, let's say now I feel emergency, I wanted to go to CR to release, all right? And we can just simply, I saw a brunch, then I will just simply, I don't eat in McDonald's, but I will also stop by and then enter to a CR of a McDonald's to enjoy their facility without paying, without buying any or get any items from McDonald's. Then after that, we done, we go. All right, that's how our culture. So we never practice that kind of like Spanish culture, where in a very polite or manners that you have to get something or pay something to wrap as appreciations to use their facility. So yeah, it's really truly you have to understand culture, because our culture may not represent other people's culture. So understand people's culture is always good. Example, Malaysia. We actually brought up in Malaysia, and we have a culture of this Malayan and Muslim. So they are very particular when you give them something or you get something, receive something from Malayan. So what we do is we always use the right hand. We don't use left hand. So example, I wanted to pay to a cashier, and the cashier is a Malay. So we have to use our right hand to pay the money. Or when we receive something from someone who is also Malayan, then the Malays, so we also will receive either with both hands or either with our right hand. So we don't use the left hand, because they find that the left hand in their culture, using left hand receiving or giving is a very rude manner. So I think understanding people's culture before you travel to that place, that country, is really, really important.
Yeah, so we never imagined that, Dr. Tana, that in Malaysia, for example, you have to use your right hand. Am I correct?
Oh yes, yes, yes. We are really always of course we are trained, so then we used to it. But of course, in I believe your country you never heard such saying. So that's why we are very particular when we are dealing with Malays, because especially Malays, right? They have a lot of their so-called like a set of rules and regulations, and or maybe we call all this as a cultural part of the cultural respect that when you are doing it, then it's it's better, okay, it's good. But of course our Malayan Muslim in Malaysia compared to the Muslim in Middle East also very different. Middle East Muslim, they don't so much like following us. They are much more following their own culture and also the European culture. So again is different when we travel. When that time we travel to Middle East, to this Turkey, I also noticed that they are much more like open-minded, and more on like so-called like European culture compared to our Muslim culture again.
So in short, not all Muslims are the same. So meaning
Yes,
yeah, if you go to Malaysia, it will be a different variation of Muslim. You go to the Middle East, also it will be a different version of the Muslim. Go to the
yes,
Philippines,
correct.
it will be a different version of Muslim. Same
Yes,
goes
I
with
believe
others.
so. Yes.
So meaning it's not enough that you know the religion of the person in that
Yeah,
region.
correct. It's still partially you have to understand which part of the world or the country that they are raised. And the biggest example, right? What I understand that those days I thought that the Middle East, right? Middle East is a country. I mean the piece of big piece of land where is following, the Muslim or the Islamic so-called what do you call it, religion. So I thought they are very much like us, but actually in fact they are not, because Middle East, part of the entire piece of land, they are very much very near to this Europe, okay, like Spain, across the sea, Istanbul. You actually already can see all those European country like Portugal, and then what else, Spain, and some other European country. That's why they are very much following them. Even the way they dress up, they are not all of them. They are not the what do
And
you call it?
yeah,
Uh,
the
uh
jihad, yeah,
no, it's like in the part of their dress up. Not all of them dress up like the very conservative Muslim. Actually, many of them dress up in a very liberated way. Okay, so that's why it is different again. So that's why I have to understand, I think the logistic, the strategic place itself of the country, plus the culture, plus the religion, only can tell you about a place when you travel to them. So I think tourism is not just only purely for you to relax in a place. It's more also understanding when you are going there. It's more also understanding to study and to learn certain great things about other country, and we bring it back to our own home country.
yeah. So in short, it's all about studying the regional culture or the community
Yes,
culture of every area. So not the
yes,
country as a whole, because a country itself will have hundreds and thousands of culture in every community.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, like for example, in Malaysia, it's divided into 13 states plus one central state, which is Kuala Lumpur, of course, the capital.
Mm.
One Kuala Lumpur as the capital plus 13 additional states. So in that 13 states, it will have different variation.
Yes, yes. It's also again slight differences. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mm.
plus the fact that Malaysia has three major races.
Yes, correct. Yeah, you are right. Absolutely. That's why I mean for us here, because as you mentioned, we are dominated by three different main major races. So who is Chinese, sorry, Malay, Chinese, and Indian. So that at least already, make us to be easier to know or to learn or to get to use to the different so-called culture. And of course again, 10-20 years ago, so Kuala Lumpur also as a city or a country where many so-called westerner, they are coming here, to work here as expat and all that. So with that again, right? So many more people are coming all parts of the world. So that's how we are dealing and also understand more apart from the three races. So I think again that will really bring a country to the next level. So at least for us people who are born and raised here, so at least we have that um bigger capacity, to open up our eyes opening and also horizons to get to know more people from all parts of the world.
Yes. That's why when I saw in the Singapore newspaper, they already have
Mm-hmm.
four racial classification. Of course, the usual,
Ah,
yeah, they have the Malay, the usual. Then they have the Chinese, they have the Indian. Then now they included Eurasian. That's the fourth.
oh yeah.
Type.
Oh, that is really great.
Yeah, I believe same goes with Malaysia also because
Okay, not yet. Maybe I think maybe slowly it will be embraced.
yes, because in Singapore they consider Eurasian as the fourth category of the racial
Mm,
classification mix.
I see. Okay, okay. That's great to know.
Yeah, that's why. So meaning many factors must be considered. That's why we're studying the sociology of tourism, meaning the dynamics, the science of people dynamics. Same
Mm,
also, for example, in religion, we cannot generalize that all people belonging to the same religion have the same culture. It will be different. Like perfect example, in the Philippines, of course, we know that it's a Catholic country and subdivided into different denominations. There's the Christian, they call it the evangelical or the Protestant Christians. So in America, it's the opposite. It's the evangelical Christians, which is the largest, like 90%. Then
mm,
Catholics there are just 10%. While in the Philippines, 90%, 83 to 90% are Catholics, then
mm,
10% would be the evangelical Christians.
mm,
So as they say, for example, this is the normal notion of people. May not be right, but this is how it was perceived. That Catholics
mm,
are so liberated, they're the party types, they're the immoral types. That's from the
mm,
Philippine perspective. They thought that the
mm,
Christians are the holier. But if we go to United States of America, it's the exact opposites. Since they're the majority, the Christians are the majority, the Christians are the wild, the party, premarital sex. Then the Catholics there are the most holy. So see, so it's not
mm.
about the religion, it's all about the culture. So religion cannot give. Same also with Malaysia, right, Dr. Tan, right? Uh, Muslims will always be different to wherever place they belong.
Yes, yes, yes. It's true.
Yeah,
Yes.
so religion is just one factor, but it cannot be the
Yeah.
total defining factor.
Yeah, I believe again, right, as we mentioned earlier, from my personal experience, okay, travel to of course not all parts of the world, but distinctive from certain parts of the world, I would really have to say that for a country, uh the religion may not be the just the only aspect to determine that. Normally, it comes together with the country itself, the cultural itself, and then the social development itself, plus the so-called religion. So every layers will add to that totality to make that country's citizens to behave in certain way.
Correct, Dr. Tan. So plenty of layers to consider.
Yes, maybe I share a little bit here. I remember when we went to Spain, our tour guide again emphasized this almost like every day. So because we actually, of course, Joe gave this so-called chance to visit to their grocery, visit to, some part of the places where for us to get our day-to-day so-called like eateries or maybe grocery shop or convenience shop to buy their local food, local fruits and all that. So I remember this person said, um, the tour guide said this, when you wanted to buy something from convenience store, buy something from all this grocery shop, do remember, never ever choose and pick. Example, I am buying apple, okay, or I'm buying fruit. I'm not sure about, maybe Dr. Scott later you can tell me, but Malaysian, regardless you are Chinese, Malay, Indian, our culture we likes to choose and pick the best out of the best from whatever that presented. Okay, let's say example, all the grapes or all the fruits, okay, on the plates or anywhere. So we will really choose and pick the best, we think the best, okay, for us. But when we go to Spain, everything presented in that place is always good. Okay, so anything which is actually already spoiled, not in order, so they will remove, okay, from the rack. And that's why anything there, right, they don't have the culture. Spain, they don't have the culture like, you have to choose the best out of the best from the rack. Okay, so everything presented, they assumed it okay. So of course, from our culture, we will still like to do that. So then you actually will see some of the people where actually our members, actually some people, I call so-called aunties, uncles, so they still like to do that. When they do that, truly speaking, the local people there, they really don't like it. They will actually look down, or they will, they will they will actually really find all this as a misbehavior from us. All right, so that's why, again, knowing people's culture, you can make things better, or to make your tour experience better.
Yes, correct. That's why these days, if you notice, if you go to bookstores, there are many in the bookshops. If you notice, every country will have the Lonely Planet travel guide where you can read a bit, you can familiarize yourself, attune with the culture, because those are compilation of all experiences of different travelers and
Yeah.
tourists.
Yes.
As you know, Spain has been one of the best countries in Europe. In fact, trivia, by the way, in the 2024 Passport Ranking Index, Spain is the most powerful passport at the moment.
Oh.
Spain has surpassed Singapore already.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
Spain
me,
is a very beautiful and nice country. Anyone have the chance should go there.
that's a very beautiful country. And the cost of living in Spain is not expensive, right, Dr. Tan, since you are the one who visited Spain already.
Actually, it's true. Yeah, I remember those days when I am not a very much fashionable person. My fashion, to my definition, is as long as it's unique when I put on to myself.
Mm.
So the very first time when I visited Spain many years ago, that was the only first time I came to know so-called teenage brand called Pull and Bear. And so I actually bought some items over there. And in fact, when the moment I came back to Malaysia, so I was telling my younger sister, who is really, I think about like 8 years different from me. So I remember I told her that I bought something from this Pull and Bear, and it was just only this amount of money. And I still remember my younger sister told me, wow, it's really, really so much affordable compared to the Pull and Bear where we have it in Pavilion. And then only I came to know that Pull and Bear is like Zara, is like those days H&M or Uniqlo across all parts of like in the European country. So then I found out that yes, because I think that is one of the local brand that they have. A lot of their item actually produced manufactured in Moscow. Then after that, only they start distributing and exported to other countries. So that's why it's really a lot of the brands there are really affordable. Mm.
Yes, and even if you do your research, I mean, if the participants will do their research, Spain is the most affordable country in the entire Europe.
Yeah. I remember their very high quality wine. Actually, the most high quality wine in Spain, in fact, not red wine. In fact, it's a white wine. And because a white wine is a much more so-called, according to them, is much, because the white wine grapes is much more difficult to like what do you call it
To harvest.
to harvest. Okay, so because of that, but in fact when we check, right, the quality white wine where they actually selling in those convenience store, I remember very accurately, I think of just only €5 you already can get it. €5 is equivalent, €1 is €1 equivalent to that time our price is I think 5 or 5.2 ringgit Malaysia. So
Mhm.
compared to us to you, then it will be like equivalent to 50 or 52. So you imagine one bottle of a white wine, good quality one, between like a €5. Okay, €5 equivalent to our, I make it easy, one equals to five. So it's equivalent to our 20 ringgit. So again, 20 ringgit is equivalent to your 200 peso. Okay. So comparatively, many other things over there are really, really reasonable and affordable. Mm.
Yes, that makes it wonderful. In fact, so funny that cost of living in Spain is much more cheaper compared to living in Manila, as they say.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, I think so. If to compare from this perspective, but of course, my experience in many of this country, it was actually before pandemic.
mhm.
Okay, so I'm not sure whether post-pandemic are they still maintain the same affordable cost of living, or whether it has been increased. Because my experience to Middle East, it was actually post-pandemic. Of course, certain things also according to the local people there, the tour guide and all that. According to them, it's they have increased the price compared to those days before pandemic. It's even much more affordable. Mm.
Yes, but I believe not so much difference. It increased a bit, but still manageable, right?
Okay. All right.
So now we continue. First, these are the socioeconomic variables and their effect on travel. We have what's this? Okay, number one is age, of course. Number two, the income and social status. Number three, education and the life stages of the family. Of course, like what many people say, while you are young, keep on traveling. Yeah, build memories because once you get old, roughly like 8 years old, it might be quite difficult for you to enjoy traveling in all parts of the world. Do you agree with that, Dr. Tan?
I think it's very much yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
I will not put the full yes to that statement, because for actually for every people, okay, including myself, I born in an average family, okay, meaning to say I don't born rich, okay, I born in an average family. So my travel experience only started when I first made my first year of my salary. All right. So that's how accumulated my experience to travel the world. So my travel is actually coming from the moment when I started to make my money, okay, to make my so-called earnings, okay, revenue. So that's why I think it's also again very much depending. I have some of my colleagues where I understand they actually don't travel when they are in the so-called early stage, because some of my colleagues, they actually married young. When you married young, so you give birth, so you already went to the next stage of your life. So that is the time when in their early age, they don't travel much because they need to take care of their babies, travel with babies is not easy. Maybe domestic or maybe nearby, yes, it's easier for them. But for them to travel far, they really make it in the later stage of their life when all their kids are grown up. All right. But myself, I've actually so-called in my early stage, I was single, so that's easier for me to travel the world. All right. So I actually do it opposite of them. I think from these 4 points itself, my personal experience and my personal so-called understanding from many people who have been working, like in baby boomers, in all parts of stages of life, I would really say it's really much depending on um, their capacity, their stages of life, and also their experience of life, and also their career of life. So the career is to represent their income earnings. So it's really varies from people to people to experience all these four. Mm.
Correct. Although traditionally in the past many years, like for example during the 70s, 80s, or even 90s, let's use 90s as the point of reference because of course 70s, as you know, things are not yet fully stable for the global community. A lot of wars, especially
Mm.
if you remember World War II during the
Yep.
1940s, the 1970s, the Vietnam War, American Vietnam War. So somehow the world was able to rest a bit around 80s towards the 90s. So 90s is the point of reference. So some parts of the world in Asia, martial law is taking place, not just in the Philippines, but also in Thailand, also in Malaysia. So martial law has been there in Asia, very famous in communist
Yep.
countries. So 90s was the one that is the period, should I say, that the world somehow evolved differently, uniquely. So if you notice during the late 80s and 90s, families normally, I mean, couple normally gets married by 20s, then they will raise
Yes.
kids, then
Mm.
try to earn for a living, save money. Then the only time that they enjoy is the 40s once they reach the age of 40s. Then by 60, they
Yes.
feel old, they will retire, they cannot travel anymore. But in this new generation, 21st century, when technology rapidly advanced, if you notice, regardless of your age in life, you can travel even as young, young as a little kid, like 6 or 7 year old, even as a newborn baby, and even as old as 70 or 80, because in the new generation, 70 and 80 is still a young age. So if you notice, some couples are not employed in a typical corporate environment. Some of them are just vloggers working online, but you notice they're enjoying traveling to different parts of the world time to time. And
Yes.
yeah, right, Dr.
Very
Tan?
much agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
To the point that they were able to bring their kids also. So their kids are moving from one place to another. So that's the what's that fantastic world of tourism in this modern generation.
Yeah, yeah. From that angle, yes, yes.
Mhm.
I think Dr. Scott, you are really, really, absolutely right on that part.
Yeah,
Yes.
compared to the 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s, where everything was so conventional, everything was so fixated in this and that only. But now you can do things in a flexible manner. Like for example, in the past, normally kids, little kids, if you can see in that picture, those kids, for example, the only kids who can move from one school to another are the children of the ambassadors or diplomats. Because as you know, every 3 years, 4 years, they keep on being assigned to different countries. So their kids will move to another international school. But these days, if not even not ambassadors, not diplomatic corps, but even the people who are just bloggers, the couple who are just bloggers, so every year, for example, they keep on moving from one country to another, then send their kids to one different school to another. So that makes it fun also. It makes you
Mm.
more enriched in that. In fact, tourism makes you not just satisfied when it comes to enjoyment, but also culturally diverse, culturally enriched.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, you're right. When you're talking about that, right? I think these days when you are to go to shopping mall and
Mhm.
of course especially those shopping mall which is like in Philippines like BGC and Malaysia like the Pavilion. Okay, so actually truly you will see a lot of people they actually travel even with together with their young kids and they are pulling this all these baby chairs and all that. So yeah, actually I think the world is really really changed. So compared to those days, like I have mentioned, some I think maybe your parents, my parents time, they rather to travel when they think that when the kids are grow up. So and but some especially European, I think European these days, especially, they always, bring along with all their young kids. So to travel as a family, so in order to enjoy the life and to explore the other countries' culture as well. So I think it's really true that I think from this aspect, tourism has really expanded to and also bring it to the next horizon or next level. Mm.
Yes, correct, Dr. Tan. So very nice example about Pavilion and BGC because very true. If you go to Pavilion, you'll see a lot of Westerners, for example, or not just Westerners, but tourists. They will bring
Mm.
their kids as young as 4 or 5 years old. And also in BGC, you'll see a lot of kids being brought by their parents. So it's about this time, the world really changed. So meaning
Yeah.
they can travel everywhere. No need to worry that you have kids who are still growing up, still studying because these days, even I believe all of our majority of our participants are from the Generation Z, meaning the new generation, the new dynamic generation. In fact, as you know, there are surveys that Generation C prefers to be uh, prefers to work in an environment that is flexible and at the same time using technology and not anymore confined in their offices. That's why easier for Gen Z generation to travel anywhere in the world without compromising their work. Yeah, so
Yes,
those are
yes,
yeah,
yes.
right,
Very
Dr.
much
Tan.
agree to that
Mhm.
extent.
Yeah. That's why in the past, people worry about their travels. For example, if their social and income status is not really that stabilized yet. But in this generation, yeah, you just click on your device. Of course, easier for you to gain money, gain income. Easier for you to travel. That's the huge difference compared to the 20th century during that past century and compared to the 21st century. And in fact,
Yeah.
post-pandemic 21st century made it more different.
Yeah, I think one thing maybe I think can be add on to besides apart from these 4 points. I think one part of the changes really change the tourism itself is from the social economic variables. I think is the methods of payment as well.
Mhm.
Those days I remember, those days. I think every time when we travel, we really have to ensure that we have exchanged enough of the country currency
Mhm.
before we go there. But these days, I think not necessarily. As long as you have a credit card, as long as you have an ATM card, or as long as you can actually, before you fly there, you can actually start to apply for certain facilities, which is actually add on to tag to your bank account. And when you are going there, just with your handphone, you already can make payment. I think that is also one great thing about from the social economic variables to make the significant effect to add on to our travel. So you don't need to worry that when you are there, you do not have enough, you do not have enough cash where converted to their currency. So I think that is one great thing about the travel differences as a tourist.
Yeah, there's a huge difference now
Yes.
compared before because I remember, of course, the very first travel that I had was 80s. That's why during the EDSA revolution, I was not here in the Philippines right away. So the first airline that I was able to experience was Korean Airlines on the way to United States. So
Mm.
during that time, it's very difficult. You really have to go to the ticketing agency to buy the tickets. Unlike now, very simplistic, very
Yeah,
convenient.
you can just compare every
Yeah.
part of the website, then finally you can decide on your own, right? Instead of
Yes,
going
correct.
through another agent.
Yes, you don't need to go there. You don't even need travel agency these days. Just click on the app, then you will have variety of choices.
Yeah, true, true, true. Very much agree. I remember when years ago when we traveled to US
Mhm.
and we also do a lot of comparison between the tickets, which is good, and find out all the so-called feedback from the passenger
Mhm.
and which airline is good. So before we can even decide to actually book ourselves or to buy the tickets for which airlines. So yeah, these things feedback and also comparisons are all available on the internet resources. So for us to actually, to add on to our consumer safety and comfortability, and as well as before we can decide which to go.
Yes, plenty of variety of choices. That's why
Yeah,
easier, right? So,
yes,
yeah.
true.
And in fact, a trivia for most people because, as you know, in the digital technology, it's also not perfect. A lot of scammers are there, a lot of hackers, posters. Very simple. Use the common sense. For example, you want to check AirAsia. Be sure the app contains the website of airasia.com. As simple as that. Because most fake sites, they will put AirAsia 214, AirAsia AAA, AirAsiaZZZ.com. Obviously,
Mm,
that one is already a fake apps. So the most
mm,
reliable app, the name of the company .com without any add-on. As simple as that.
mm,
In order for you not to
mm,
be fooled.
mm.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
agree.
even though, yeah, Dr. Tan is also right that even though you don't need to worry about the currency as long as you have your credit card with you, as long as you have
Yes,
your
yes.
digital card.
When talk about this, right, it's really my personal experience. I remember Years ago, my very first travel, when I first made my first salary, that time when I traveled to Hong Kong, so I really make sure that my currency is enough, okay, before I travel. So then coming back, so we normally will change extra, and until we travel back, so we may convert back, okay, whichever balance. Along the way, along the way, actually slowly when the credit card make available, so we actually don't need to travel and convert it so much of the currency. And then we can actually, as long as you have a credit card, so it can many of the payment, as long as that time I remember when I traveled to Taiwan for the first time, that was around like 15, 17 or 18 years ago or something like that. So then I remember they said, oh, you don't need to bring so much of cash anymore. So as long as you wanted to buy anything in the shopping mall, so then you can actually just replace by credit card. And credit card currency exchange even much cheaper compared to when you change it in the counter rate. Okay, so that's why these are some of the things that it is for us to consider. Okay, for our consideration, which best rate then which you use. So then, yeah, that is great thing. Then with later experience now, actually we bring less cash. Okay, I bring less cash in terms of their currency converter currency, and I bring either credit card, or I will try to find some other methods, okay, where they can receive, okay, or they can accept. So then I get everything's so-called the e-wallet or e-transactions ready, and for me to actually exchange less bring less cash over, and make other methods available.
Okay, very nice, Dr. Tan, about that digital wallet. In fact, for some students who are still studying who does not have credit card yet, a best alternative that you can use for payment are your digital wallets. In
Mm.
fact, one thing good about digital wallets is that, for example, you don't have money, uh, and you are in good credit standing with your digital wallets. In fact, you can use that as your credit card itself. So meaning you can easily travel using your reliable digital wallet. That's why very easy, right, Dr. Tan?
Yes, yes, yes. I think that's really because a lot of digital wallet these days, they are trying to tie up with other country. Example, we have one thing called touch and go. All
Mm.
right, and our touch and go these days, even can the touch and we can even use our touch and go. If you are in Japan, if you are in Hong Kong, if you are in certain countries, I heard. All right, even I think China or which country also, they actually now accept our touch and go. Okay, because they tied up with the local banks over there in other country, and so that to give convenience, okay, to the citizen. All right, so I think those are the things that banks are slowly trying to emerge, okay, to provide more convenience or more conveniences to all parts of the world.
Okay, so in short, if you are traveling or going somewhere, you don't need to bring cash. But the most important thing that you must bring is your power bank. Yeah, true.
So yes, your handphone, your power bank is really really
Yes, that's the
important.
most important. Because these days we transact using the phone most of the time. 90% of our transactions are now made via the phone. And as you know, it consumes a lot of power. So always bring power with you. Yeah, so
Let me share one
go ahead.
interesting story. During pandemic, I remember I actually my full professionalism is actually in the bank. I am a banker. I work in the bank, and I still remember those days. Companies they take attendance via pen and written down on the paper. Then they call it attendance sheet. All right, and during pandemic, right, all of us actually need to do QR scan. Okay, QR scan through the so-called our government apps. At the same time, for for our bank itself, right, they also use QR scan. Okay, so I remember there was one time over the night I forgot to charge my handphone. So the moment when I reach office, I think I left only 1%. So for me to actually get up, okay, to the so-called office, and or either I totally use up my battery. So I think I remember I was a bit so-called like a fearful that, oh my God, I don't have my this handphone because of ran out of battery. So I can't actually do my scanning for me to allow me to actually go up to my office. Not because of you cannot go into the office, just because of you can't do the scanning before you can actually enter your office. So I think more important these days is about whether do you have a battery and you can actually run your handphone accordingly.
Yes, that's the most important. The power, the
Yes.
handphone and the
Yeah,
power
it's
bank.
not about your money, it's about your
Yeah,
handphone, whether you
yeah,
have battery.
yeah. Because these days, the modern currency is the digital device.
Yeah, correct, correct.
Yeah, that's why never forget that. So invest in a power bank with Type C and in the laptop port so you can use. Yeah, then we go
Uh,
to the next. Okay, here, what's that? The rise of new travel patterns. So as you know, number one is travel clubs. In this group travel plan, club member enjoys travel opportunities and vacation destination facilities at a much cheaper price than paid by non-members. So this is about membership, right, Dr. Tan, if I'm not mistaken. It's
mm,
about
yeah.
membership.
Yeah, but I think actually those days when I was younger, before I
Mhm.
really started my real first job, I
Okay.
think I actually joined one of the company is a
Uh-huh.
hospitality company
Mhm.
where they are running their resort, okay, all parts of the world. I think domestic and also in Asia and also in the Europe. So those days I think is very very much popular, but I think maybe getting lesser and lesser, not
Yeah,
so much anymore.
yeah, these
Because
days.
these days people you can actually easily get any Airbnb. You can easily just buy your ticket, flight tickets anywhere on your own, and you can easily just go Google and check, where is the best place to, for you to eat and buy and all that. So I think travel clubs will be less popular these days, but those days they called it a time sharing, if I'm not
Mhm.
wrong. I think my company those days, they own many resorts all parts of the world. They called it time sharing. They are really making great money from these travel clubs.
Yeah, I think these travel clubs was years ago or even before pandemic. Yeah, or
Yes.
even years ago before pandemic. Same also with these arrangements. Because these days, you don't need arrangements anymore. You can get it at a far cheaper price just by booking in the right app, right? And the
Yes,
right
yes.
promo.
Yeah.
Okay. Special interest tours. Actually, these days, with the emergence of technology, these days you don't need these special interest tours. These special interest tours are normally only good, for example, if you're traveling to a country that it requires visa. Like, for example, if you go to America, it's
Mm,
not easy to be given tourist visa. So for
mm,
you, I mean, as you know, many Asians in the past were denied of US visa. But the
mm.
easiest way for you to gain those US visa or Shenzhen visa from Europe is if you will be participating in a typical special interest events like this, like exchange
Ah.
programs or sporting events. Those are the fastest ways for you to gain visa. But
Mm.
if you observe this data, of course, the world relaxed already. It's not anymore border restrictions. We're now living in a borderless society. If you notice, easier. Even United States, Europe, they want to attract more tourists. That's why these days visa processing is not anymore as strict during the post-war, during the 20th century. Right, Dr. Tan?
Yeah, correct. I think the other day we were talking about this topic
Mhm.
about why China raised a waiver of visa for 6 countries, okay,
Mhm.
including Spain, including Malaysia, and including 4 others European country. The reason why they actually waive the visa for these countries, I believe Malaysia actually every year we have really millions of people actually just travel to China, all right, and and I remember I saw one article release talking about with the waiver of visa to enter China for that 6 countries, and because of that, it's actually helped the country recover almost like 1/3 of their losses during pandemic
Mm. Okay,
for
so
China.
meaning China
Yes,
relaxed their visa
yes.
requirements.
Yes, correct. So they released that policy. They wanted to recover they wanted to recover the so-called total losses that they made during pandemic. Okay, so meaning to say, many countries actually relying on the tourisms to make a huge profit. Okay,
Yeah.
and in this scenario, this is how this is actually how the China they actually amending their policy to recover from their social economy. However, European countries, I think they do the other way opposite. What they did is that, example, those days European country, we are actually one of the colonial country under so-called UK, okay, British, and that's why we actually go to Euro country. We don't need to do any visa. We are actually free visa to enter their country as long as you don't stay there more than 3 months. But however, I think just 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago, post-pandemic. So Europe actually they effective it this year, and any Malaysian who with Malaysian passport to enter Europe, we also need to do visa first before we can enter. Okay,
Mhm.
and so every country they will have a different perspective because they actually charge us. I think they charge us for 300 to 600 visa fees. So I think they are using the other method. They thought that since so many people are entering to Europe, so they actually increase. They wanted to make recovery from the visa fees. So which is better? I'm not sure. I do not do a deeper analysis to that, but I think China did a very good so-called policy recovery where free visa to make them recovered just within the 6 months or plus or about a year time. They actually recover due to the visa fees waiver. Okay, so they recover 1/3 of their losses. But the other way around, European they actually charge us visa fees, but they do not have any so-called report release to talk about this thing whether it's add on to their recovery of their financial status or not. That part I'm not too sure yet. Mm.
Yeah, I believe because that one, visa processing fees also help the economy of those countries who
Yes, correct.
experience the pandemic.
Mm,
Same goes in the Philippines. They have the travel tax, where
mm,
every citizen of the Philippines will go outside the country, they have to pay, I think, around roughly 2,000 pesos plus for that travel tax also as a form of government funding. But on the other hand, also, you'd be surprised, like Taiwan, for example. In the past, if citizen of Brunei, citizen of Thailand will go to Taiwan, they need visa. But now, because of the Taiwan visa waiver program, Brunei, Thailand, or even Philippines can easily go to Taiwan without the need.
mm. Yep.
So those things. So those are the changing patterns. Because
Yes.
it's important. Eh? How can you gain back the economy of the country through tourism? Same also with
Yes.
Middle East, or specifically Abu Dhabi, the very famous Dubai. As you know, these days Middle East is not anymore into oil. They're more into travel and tourism. That's why they want to open their borders, their windows to more people.
Yes, yes, yes. I think that day also I mentioned to a certain group of students. Yeah, I think example, right? Malaysia actually had some contract signing with this Middle East. So we are trying to we are the contract itself, right? Both the so-called government is trying to encourage the so-called tourism between Malaysia to Middle East and Middle East to Malaysia. So that's why in Malaysia, our country, we actually saw a lot of Middle East tourists were actually visiting to our country. And I would say comparatively to those days, actually it's really tremendously, improved in terms of the statistic from Middle East. And again, Malaysia, also same thing. Reason why we actually have so many tourists entering or visiting their country, including Turkey, Abu Dhabi, Doha, and there's one more. I suddenly Saudi Arabia. In Malaysia, many of my Malay colleagues, again, because these are the countries where Muslim, so many of my colleagues actually, by within this year and plus last year, many of them actually has been like planning to go to these few parts of the Middle East. So that's why you can see, I think a certain policy between countries, is really can help to, to fasten the tourism perspective.
Yes, to expedite the tourism
Yeah, to
processes.
expedite. Yes, true.
Yeah. So of course, from the international tourist perspective, relaxation, these are the complete relaxation to constant activity. Relaxation matters. Of course, activity
Mm.
follows. Traveling near one's home environment to a totally strange home. But these days, in the modern world, because of this technology, there's no more term that you call as strange because everything can be learned, can be known in one click. Okay, complete dependence on group travel to traveling alone. These days, these things do not matter anymore. I remember there's a Filipina actress, a very young
Mm.
Filipina actress from ABS-CBN, age 18 or 19 years old. The name is Loisa. So she was wondering, is it lonely if a person travels alone? Then suddenly a lot of bashers or people who commented her saying, "Oh, you're so naive, young girl." You know, people these days they like to travel alone because they will meet new people in that new place. At the same time, they can relax and unwind. They can search their soul, find themselves. So these days, it doesn't matter whether you travel as a group or you travel alone, as long as you travel. And then that's where the
Yeah.
adventure comes, right, Dr. Tan?
Yeah, actually it's true.
Mm.
Uh, I think those days when I was younger, I think this kind of maybe thoughts also raised in my mind before. But again, when the age goes by, you actually will notice that I myself I have not traveled on my own before.
Mhm.
Maybe a short distance domestic, yes. But I don't think travel far to other countries, except for Philippines, I guess. But again, Philippines, I travel there. Of course, I would be meeting my clients, and for certain
Yeah.
reasons, okay, of work and this thing. So, but again, right? I'm also a very independent person. Comes to my career, comes to my this thing. And also throughout my observations, I noticed that many people getting more and more. The statistic raise the statistic where people are actually prefer to travel alone. Like you use a few keywords just now you mentioned, Dr. Scott, that people travel because they wanted to unwind. Okay, first thing first, a lot of our job these days are stressful. And the second reason is that some people they travel with reason and purpose. They wanted to actually go and learn, analyze, and do certain thing in certain places or country, so they actually travel with purpose. I think travel with purpose may somehow remove that issue of loneliness.
Yeah, in fact, there's no such thing as loneliness because all of us have this autonomy, dependence versus autonomy. I remember
Yeah.
when I was a visiting professor in Indonesia at that time.
Mm,
Of course, during that time, that was 10 years ago to be specific, 2014. I remember
mm,
because during those times, most of my travels are in groups. So when I travel going to Indonesia by myself, I realized that in the airplane, a lot of people are traveling alone, vice
yeah.
versa. So everyone is traveling alone and enjoying that thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the types of tourist roles, you know? Organized mass tourists. So when you say organized mass tourists, these are the usual people who are coming in groups for a specific
Mm,
travel. So according to some tourism professionals, they find it the least adventurous because your travel is very programmed. I remember my family member, I mean my parents, for example, my mother, she does not like traveling in this kind of organized mass transit. She likes to travel independently to create her own
mm,
itinerary instead of because as you know she's a senior citizen and most senior citizens normally travel in groups. Then there will be a tour guide, a tourist guide.
mm.
doing those things. But from the tourism perspective, they find it least adventurous.
Mm.
Right, Dr. Tan? What's your take on that?
I have a different, I mean, of course, coming to this point, is very different person to person.
Yes.
Myself, I am a person where I am follow the realistic.
Uh-huh.
Example, if the place itself, right? Let's say example, I share my one experience to Korea. Okay, when I travel to Korea, I travel with two of my younger sisters.
Mm.
And I travel with my mother. I travel with two of my mother's friend at her
Uh-huh.
age that time. So that was about I think 7, 8, 9 years ago. I can't remember. So that travel itself, right? We make I do a lot of research about Korea that time. So finally, I decided I will join a tour of 5 days, and the remaining 4 to 5 days we travel as an independent, so meaning to say we free and easy after the 5 days tour, a 5 days tour with the local tour guide. And so reason why, because I am a person, after I explore so many things, so I realize and notice certain places really out of the town, you really have to like do the transportation from here to here to here to here. So added up, those are really, really expensive, transportations, and it makes you tired. So that's why I make a combinations for my tour in Korea that time. So we joined the five days tour, and this 5 days tour really bring us to Nami Island, where the Winter Sonata
Yeah.
island is. And then they also bring us to a lot of other places. So we travel by bus, okay? And I specifically choose the tour itself will actually bring us to many other places where require a lot of efforts, okay, for me to actually spend for transportation arrangement and da. Okay, so I make that. And after all this travel externally to outside of Korea, after come back to Seoul, what I do is I do my 4 to 5 days free and easy with my family members. And so we travel within show for a relaxation. Okay. So
Mhm.
that's how I find that the combination of travel sometimes is also good. I think it's very much coming back to where do you want to explore? Who are you exploring the places with? And what is the purpose of choosing this or that? So I think done a deeper research to understand more, then you can make the best decision out of it.
Yeah.
Again, why I saying this is like example, some of my colleague, I hear their experiences that they actually travel to Japan.
Mhm.
Japan is a very huge places, a huge country, and they travel to one of the temple which is very famous in Japan, and
Mhm.
they told me, share with me their experience that to reach out to the Japan temple, which is very outskirt from I think Tokyo or somewhere. So they really, really tired, okay, of spending their time going over to there, and the transportation itself also expensive. So ended up they felt so tired, okay, just only visiting to that temple and coming back. So that's why I think become a 21st century tourist, okay. I think one thing good is that with so many so-called Google informations that we can have, and also the comments and all that, I think good to be a wise tourist. Do your analysis, do your research before you decide whether which is good, and depending on your purpose.
Yeah. Although it says here from the tourism professional statement that it's the least adventurous, but for your experience, it could have been fun, right? It was fun being in the
Yeah.
organized. Yeah.
Yes, true.
Uh,
I find it fun
uh,
because I'm lazy to like travel on my own to this Nami Island. You have to transport yourself, and then so you have to get another place. So reach there, you have to also get the ferry. I find it I find it I find it troublesome, and
yes.
I'm bringing so many people. So might
Yeah.
as well, since I spending that, might as well we join tour, and then we do a combination of hybrid. Mm.
Yeah. So the hybrid that you're mentioning is the individual mass. So meaning this is your
Yes,
group, your family members mass, but individual, meaning you
yes,
created your own travel. Unlike the
yes, correct.
organized mass, it's the travel agency who created the program.
Yep,
So yeah,
yep, correct.
all this works in good ways. It depends on your purpose. But these are the
Yes,
types of tourist roles. So we have the organized mass, which is organized by that travel agency. Then individual mass, meaning your group of family members, group of friends, or group of company doing I mean, the itinerary. Then we have the explorer. It's the independent traveler. The tourist alone arranges his or her travel herself. And
yes.
the funniest part is the drifter. So when you say drifter, these are the tourists who goes farthest away from the way of life, from the usual accustomed way of your life in your own country. Like for example, going to a country that there's a war, that is a drifter. Or going to North Korea. Are you aware, Dr. Tan, that North Korea is also open for tourists? Are you aware of that?
I think that was very much recently, right? Those
Yes,
days not.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah, but not in my list yet. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. I, of course, this is within the class, right? So I'm still skeptical about that.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
So
skeptical where to go. So, coming to tourism, I am before I go to one country, I will make sure that that country is safe, that country is convenient to travel on your own, and that country is with carry with a purpose of life. Why you go there? So, North Korea is not in my list yet. I'm sorry.
yes, I know. Although people traveling to tourists who are traveling to North Korea are called the drifters, meaning they are the wild adventurers. They want to see what's in North Korea. However,
Yes.
I do not want to burst the bubble, or should I say, give you negative hopes. But the only problem, if you travel to North Korea, you will not really enjoy the entire country because the country, half of it or 80% of it is restricted to tourists. The
Mm.
only 20% spot are the ones available for tourists, and you will not see much of that. So,
Yeah, since going to North Korea, why not choose South Korea? I really like South Korea. It's a very, very beautiful
yeah,
place.
it's a very
And
beautiful
it's
country.
convenient to travel either with transport on your own, or you use the words here, organized mass tourists or individual mass tourists.
Yeah,
Actually, individual mass tourists, now I can understand. Actually, we tried that before where a group of our family, and
yes,
then just only with our family, so we organize someone to just lead us
yes.
to our to your design itinerary. So actually it's better South Korea, so don't go North Korea.
Yeah, South Korea is one of the best. In fact, I like South Korea more than Japan because Japan is a bit silent. And like in South Korea, a lot of happenings, a lot of events, and everything is
Mm,
organized in South Korea.
yeah, great to hear that. I remember my South Korea experience is that I really spent so much on their you know um on their this cosmetic, fashion, and every small items, like their
Yeah,
cosmetic
they're beauty
items,
products.
their beauty products. I really spent so much about that.
Yeah, because Koreans are very vain and particular with how they look.
Yes.
So tourism and culture, as you know, they go hand in hand. So the objectives is
Mm.
describe the effects of culture in travels, clarify how cultural patterns are changed by internal and external forces, discuss the importance of cultural tourism, analyze the cultural factors which appeal to tourists, and explain how each of these cultural factors contribute to cultural tourism. So, meaning, if you are immersed in the field of tourism, whether as a tourism professional or as a traveler, culture is automatically embedded. So, meaning, when you study tourism, when you experience tourism, you experience culture. It's not just like short transit, it's about embracing the culture. So, right,
Yes,
Dr.
this
Tan?
is really much true.
Yeah,
I just add on to that.
yeah,
Not only to culture, because cultural differences definitely is place to place, country to country. Even though we talk about the races in Malaysia, we also
yeah.
have different culture. But however, I also learned this thing when I first went to Japan.
Mhm.
I never really travel to Japan, but my dad Japan experience was just only like 24 hours for
Mm.
us to actually transit from Malaysia to Japan. and 1 day in Japan. Then we are going to transit to this California that time. So that 1 day experience in Japan, we actually stopped by transit in this second city in Japan called Narita, if I'm not Narita or Narito. I can't remember the exact name because I'm not a big fan of Japan. Many of my colleagues are, but I'm not. So I remember when we went there, we take the train system from their airport, okay, the Narita airport, and going out to this Narita city, okay. So I remember I was very amazed to tell my friend called Sheila. I told her, I'm so surprised to see that the trainer, the passenger, okay, do you call passenger? I think passenger, right? To actually when you get into the train system, the train, and all the passenger are allowed to bring their bicycle, okay? And you can travel your bicycle from this point to another point. Then after that, you can you can cycle again. But in other country, you don't see that. I don't see that in Philippines. I don't see that in Malaysia. I don't see that in Hong Kong. I don't see that in Korea. I don't see that in many other countries. Even I travel to California, I also don't see that in California or Turkey. I never take any public transport. But really, really surprising. But these are some of the good things that I wanted to bring up, that embrace some of this good thing, because these days many people are using scooter, using bicycle. So I think good to embrace these things so that people can actually how to say to have a hybrid for their conveniences, okay, coming to transporting themselves from one to another destination. Mm.
Yes, that sounds nice because I've never heard a country that you can bring the bike inside the bus, right?
Yeah, the bike into the train.
Into
And
the train.
they have reason why I say that, because the place that we were, because we wanted to actually stand to have a look and feel how that's along the way from not KLIA, from their airport, okay, to the city. So that's why we were observing. All right, so then I saw, hey, the place that we were standing.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, they can actually, it's a storage of bike.
Oh, unbelievable.
Okay, you can place your bike over there. And then after that, when you reach to your destination, then you carry your bike, and then you can go to you can bike, and then you can go to your other destination. That's why I was telling Sheila, hey, these are some of the good thing, right? Why our people in Malaysia, they don't do that? Yeah.
Yeah. Another interesting thing with Japan and East Asia, because in relation to that bike, the reason why I think they're into bike because they're more of health conscious and they are
Yes.
lightweight. If you notice, Japanese people are lightweight compared to
Yes.
us
Yes.
ASEAN people, Southeast Asia. We like to eat a lot. That's why we're quite heavy. Yeah. That's why not easy for
Yeah,
us to lift
talking
a bike.
about you and me.
I don't know, Southeast Asia in general. Yeah. Because I've also
Okay.
seen a lot of Malaysians who are quite huge. Filipinos, very huge. Look at people who are from Hawaii and Chamorros from Guam, they're also huge. That's why I like Japanese people. They're
Yeah.
really fit.
You talk about this, right? I wanted to mention one thing. That's also
Okay.
my observation.
Oh,
In Korea, no matter what age, regardless the age, unlimited to what is their age, a lot of oldies, okay, which is 70s and all that, they are still travel using the train system with their sports shoes on.
yeah, even the old
Mm,
people.
old people. That's why, yeah, I think culture really, really set their citizens to somewhere. Mm.
Yes, that's why. So look at their culture. They're really fit. Look at
Yeah, they
ASEAN.
all look very sporty.
Yeah, they look
And
very
not only
sporty.
look sporty, they are, you can see those aunties even like 60 plus 70s, they can still run and walk using their sports shoes, and they still putting on, they still have the smiles putting on their face. They are really healthily, they live their life healthily.
Yeah,
Mm.
healthy and energetic.
Yes, yes, yes.
So those are the good values or good culture that we can embrace from our neighboring countries in Asia.
Yes.
Opo. So as you know, if we define again culture, just for the sake of discussion for our participants, it's a set of beliefs, values, attitudes, habits, and form of behavior that are shared by a society and transmitted from one generation to another generation.
Mm.
So cultural factors with tourist appeal. Of course, it consists of the art, music and dance, handicraft, which I'm surprised that even Malaysia, one thing I like about Malaysia, their handicrafts very colorful. Am I right,
Oh
Dr. Tan?
yes, yes, you are very right. Because Malays and also
Indians.
our Indians, they like colorful. That's
Yeah.
why you will see a lot of our handcraft from all these things, right? The traditional handcraft is always full of colors. Like example, the one that you are showing on the screen right now under the handicraft picture,
Yes.
those normally is quite a lot of like symbolism of like Tibetan or
Mhm.
either Indians, all right?
Mhm.
So because they really like colors, normally they play with five important colors. You will notice that
Mhm.
Tibetan, Tibetan practice, Tibetan, and also Indian, all right, like I
Mhm.
mentioned. So these things where you can see, right, I think is something similar to mandalas from
Yeah, the
Tibetan,
mandalas. So, yeah.
correct. So yeah, you're very right. You also spotted something. Uh, Certain races, culturally, they actually like, to play with colors a lot.
Yeah. That's why it's the cross-cultural integration of yeah, Tibetan, of course, Indian, yeah, including
Yeah.
Chinese also. That's why it makes it more colorful. That's why many Americans and tourists, I mean, Europeans, tourists, American tourists, likes to go to Asia because of the
Yeah.
rich, diversity of cultures.
Yes, that's why if given a chance to the whoever students are watching this, right? So it's great to actually understand a bit of if you are given the chance to actually visit the Indian temple, that's why you will realize that the Indian temple are full of colors.
Mhm. Yes,
Mm,
very colorful, and
yes.
very fragrant at the same time.
Yeah.
So all Asians are very interesting when it comes to artistry, music, and dance. If you notice, even Indonesia, they have the Balinese dance. Yeah. Malaysia, they have the wonderful handicrafts. And of course, since Philippines is one of the oldest in Southeast Asia, we have a rich collection of languages and literature to explore the world. Sometimes,
Mm,
for you to study the culture of a country, not necessarily you have to read the internet, but sometimes in the old literatures,
yep.
everything is exposed there.
Yes, correct.
So, and of course, the science.
Mm,
Okay, including the government. Like for example, Malaysia, they have a very unique government, which is the federal system. So meaning in every state of Malaysia,
mm.
we always have different way of life. Am I correct with that, Dr. Tan?
Yes, yes, you are right.
Mhm. Because, for example, even United States, as simple as United States, you may think that US is a huge chunk of our land. So you know, it's subdivided into 50 different states. And in each state, they will have cultures. Go to Texas, they have a laid back culture. Go to Washington, D.C., they have a very rapid culture. Go to California, they have
Yes.
a very entertaining culture. Mhm.
Yes, you
Yeah,
are right.
yeah,
I my first time experienced that, I was like, wow, okay.
yeah.
I thought all parts are the same in US. Actually, yeah, you are right. Because when we first stopped point in my experience in the US, it was California. We actually first day we stopped by in this place called California City.
Yeah.
Okay. The CA City, and so it's similar, a bit looks similar to BGC, New York City. So everybody was busy because that was early morning that everybody was busy having their coffee. Malaysian like to have Starbucks coffee, but I think in US, right, they don't drink Starbucks so much. They normally have this California, one of the brands in California, in red color, and or either their local coffee. You will actually notice that they all walk fast. They all like to enjoy coffee early morning. So that's whatever that you can actually see in the movie. However, when we reach to Dallas in Texas, you can actually see people are slow moving, totally different. So I remember that Dr. Scott told me, of course, he has actually more experiences, travel to like Florida and all that. So I believe these are all the these are all the states, or these are all the places where people really know how to appreciate their life. We call appreciate their life and relaxing. And instead of, like our culture here, I think Philippines and Malaysia, both countries, I believe workaholic. Okay, I believe
Yes,
people
workaholics.
spend time
Yeah,
for career because these are all the highly competitive country. So yeah, compared to these places, they may actually just do some simple work, and then money earnings, and just enough for what they are doing. Yeah. So
so
I think good and bad, right?
yeah, pros and cons, good and bad. So
Yeah, pros and
sometimes,
cons, right?
yeah, sometimes the government itself, because of the structure of the government, it creates a dynamic culture for that specific
Yes.
place.
Yeah. True.
Like same for example with China. China is a very huge country, but they have different special administrative regions, SAR as they say. So for
Yeah.
example, go to Taiwan, go to Hong Kong, which has another government structure. It will have a
Mm.
slight different culture from their mother
Yes.
country. Same also with Macau and Saipan, right, Dr.
Yeah,
Tan?
true, true. I believe that also. Yeah, Hong Kong is every part of people are walking really fast. I personally I don't experience a very rude Hong Kongian, you call it. But many of my yeah, but many of my friends or colleagues, right, they always told me once after they have visited the first time to Hong Kong, they really ban Hong Kong. They really don't
Mm,
like Hong Kong. Yes. I personally, I visited Hong Kong for 3 to 4 times. Throughout my experiences, um, I don't find them rude, but
mm,
many of people, they all went Hong Kong and come back and say, these people are so rude. We are sitting down on the, in the restaurant to order, and chasing us that what you call that, high speed train, that what do you want to eat, when you think 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 and looking through their menu, they will be really get mad at you, and then they just ignore you totally. Okay, because there are people there are fast paced. Okay,
yeah,
they
fast
don't like to
pace.
spend time to wait for you just for you to decide what do you want to eat. They don't do that.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's in Hong Kong. But personally, I don't experience that. Maybe I'm a fast decision maker. Anything, okay, menu, oh, this is nice, okay, I want this. Or either we get them, you give us a bit of time, let us call you back to order. So that's why I don't encounter that. So you are really, really right. Um, but anyway, I would still say that it's a very much personal experience. So knowing their culture, you know how to deal with everybody. So
Yes,
to make
correct.
your tour experience great, for that moment in time.
Yeah,
Mm.
correct. Yeah, although
Yep.
funny, you use the word Hong Kongians, which some Americans are using, but how do you call it? Hong Kongers or Honky? Am I right, Dr. Dan?
I really don't know, but I use Honky. Yeah.
Honky, yeah. Some of
Yes.
them use Honky, some Hong Kongers, but some Americans are so funny. They said Hong Kongians.
Yeah, I personally, usually I use Honky. Yes.
Honky, yeah. So Honky
Mm.
is the standard term being used how to
Okay.
describe the people from Hong Kong. But of
Mm.
course, in some parts of China, I enjoyed Shanghai, yeah, Taiwan also. Those are the places
Yes, I
personally.
personally I like Shanghai and Taiwan. That's why these are the few country that I visited. Taiwan, I think I visited 7 to 8 times. I'm really, really familiar with Taiwan. Shanghai is another country that I really, really like because everything is just there, and all the restaurants are tasty.
Yeah, tasty,
Regardless
correct.
which part, small restaurant, also their food are tasty. That
Yeah,
is in
everything is
Shanghai. I
everything is
really like
tasty.
Shanghai. Yeah. And it's really a place to unwind,
Yeah, it's a
Things
very
are there.
relaxing place. So
Yeah, relaxing place.
in contrast to Hong Kong, which is a very busy place, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hong Kong, maybe first time, second times, you may still okay,
yeah.
enjoy. And after
Mm.
you have sightseeing every part of Hong Kong, I think nothing much there.
Yeah,
Compared
nothing much.
to, yeah, compared to Shanghai, I guess.
Yeah. Although Hong Kong is also good, however, it's just very fast paced. And of course, since Hong Kong became a very common spot, that's why even just a word of advice, some scammers already appeared in Hong Kong to scam people in this
Ah,
case.
okay.
Yeah. That's why extra caution in going to a very famous tourist spots.
Mm.
Yeah. But one thing good about Shanghai and Taiwan, those are peaceful, and the security, yeah, the safety and security is superb.
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, in fact, Taiwan is, of course, Taipei is one of the also important city in Asia, I believe.
Mhm.
They are also quite fast paced and advanced with their technology and things like that. But Taiwan, it's I think the moment you are out from Taipei, other parts of Taiwan, they are relaxing
Yeah,
places.
relaxing.
Mm,
Yeah, basically relaxing.
yeah, they give a lot of a lot of places in Taiwan outside of Taipei. They actually full of because Taiwan people, they are Chinese. They know how to make money, okay,
Mhm.
to to know how to develop a small area for their tourism industry. That's
Mhm.
why
Yeah.
in Taiwan they have a lot of tourism industry, play a lot of tourism places where provides the tourists to go and enjoy and unwind and also relax. Mm.
Yeah, that's why they are the natural industrialist, capitalist, because
Yes,
yeah, they are
yes, that's
money minded.
Taiwan.
Yeah, that's Taiwan.
Mm.
Yeah, and being in the tourism profession, of course, will make you money if you know how to attract the hearts and minds of our
Yes,
tourists. So,
true.
yeah,
Yes,
because
very much
even
agree.
very much agree, right, Dr. Tan? Because even
Yes.
aside from the government, the religion itself, for example, some religions in those tourist spots will make their temples attractive to the point that people will try to pay a visit. Then, of course, they will create some miraculous marketing activities that will make the tourists gets amazed with those things. Press the items and souvenirs.
Yes, yes, very much agree on that. Example, I'm not sure whether Dr. Scott remember. There was this in Taipei. We actually went to this one of the restaurant, which
Mm-hmm.
is actually set built established
Oh,
on their mountain.
yeah, oh,
Okay,
yeah. Oh,
yeah, correct. They called it the Peak. So this area, this restaurant, the interesting part is that they actually, this entire restaurant is built up with a wide, huge area and with layers down. The moment you get up from here, so it's layering down with a very big, huge balcony. And they also have a different kind of like setting and rooms for people to enjoy the cool air and all that throughout 4 seasons. And but any part of that, right? The main important point is that that is actually one best point about sightseeing, the night sightseeing for the entire Taipei. So that's why when you're knowing how to, when you have money. Okay, I'm referring to those tycoon and big corporations. When you or business owner, when you have money, you spotted something and that is the opportunity. So you build on it, and you really make great money about that. And that area, day and night, okay, especially nighttime after 6 o'clock onwards, it's always full house, full of
yeah, full
people. You have
house.
to make appointment, right?
It's a hot item in demand area.
Yes, correct. Mm.
Yeah. That's why for our tourism students here or tourism learners, yeah, there's always money in tourism. It's how you innovate the place. It's how you attract the tourists. It's how you
Yes,
do reach to create an appeal for them. Mhm.
yes,
Yeah. So aside from the government, religion, the handicrafts, and the arts, also the food and drinks matters a lot. That's why, right, Dr. Tan? Mhm.
very much,
Very much.
very much. I totally agree on this point.
Yeah. Because as humans, food is one of the, I mean, practically the most important survival um, method that we need. So that's why,
Yeah,
oh, to make it more,
very
very
much,
much. That's
really.
why if you notice, mhm,
Yes, yes. Coming to you.
yeah, if you notice Asian food festivals, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore are the ones winning, including Indian foods, right, Dr. Tan?
Yeah, I think maybe because of full of flavors and
Full of flavor.
due to the spices, right? So our spices are different again from China because
Yeah.
I'm Chinese, so I can tell you it's definitely different because our
Mm.
spices are normally imitate or follows the cultures. I mean the eating habits from India. Okay, because if you are to going back, revisit our history of Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, Indonesia, because a lot of our spices are actually coming from India, so that's why we follow their spices a lot and the
Mhm.
way of cooking and all that. So our spices are different from China. Okay, so if you go mainland China, you will notice that what their chilies or what their spices are different from our spices, the way we cook and all that. And our varieties, okay, and taste is also again different from Philippines. Because Philippines and us, I think we are but from our culture, we are more on this, and you guys are more from the US perspective. So again, it's different. So, but again, right, like I said, right, if you ask me, when we choose a place, tourism, when we choose a place to go, you ask me, I I like. I think from the beginning, I have mentioned I like Spain, but I don't like their food. you
I
know
understand.
that may be discounted me from revisiting,
Oh,
okay, to revisit Spain, because if I were to go there, I think every day I may just eat the 2 or 3 items. The rest I really don't like. I don't like bread. I'm not a bread person.
oh,
I am not a western food person. I don't like western food at all, despite yourself is a western, what you call that, westernized,
yeah, Western tongue. Uh-huh.
yeah, Western tongue, but I'm not, okay? So I'm more like a Malaysian tongue, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's so different. So I think coming to food and drink, right? Very important that some people, they actually attracted to a place. I believe is the food itself is very much important.
Yes, and the world is changing now. If you notice, a lot of Europeans likes to go to Asia because of the flavor, because of the food, because, yeah, those things being offered. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's why I remember in the history of time, Ferdinand Magellan, and a famous Portuguese explorer, was given a mission to search for Moluccas, yeah, the Spice Island, which is somewhere, yeah, in your place,
Mm.
right, Dr. Tan? Yeah,
Here, yes.
yeah, that's their mission because spices are very rich in Asia, in Southeast Asia. Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether Dr. Scott, you are very familiar with our Malaysia history. Actually, that makes Malaysia became eventually popular,
Uh-huh.
and that's also make eventually why British, they wanted to come and conquer our land, including
Mhm.
the
Portugal.
Portuguese. Why they wanted to conquer us is because of due to the spices that they noticed that many people trading the spices in Malaysia those days. Mm.
Yeah, because spice is all about life. Yeah, without spice, there's no life. Oh,
Yeah, that's why they
so
called it the spice of life,
the
right?
spice of life. So with that, thank you very much, Dr. Tan, for joining this very special topic about sociology of tourism. And looking forward for more insights and wisdom from you in our future lectures.
Thank you so much. You're always welcome, and hopefully all of you learned, a bit of. I would say tourism is a topic where it's not. I mean, it's a it's a common topic that everybody's know. But again, right, when out from this everybody's no common topic, but what are the special thing to yourself to know that how to pick up certain important things? So that's why it's every topic itself is always do a deeper analysis and research. And but I think tourism to travel to the place. I think along the way, any one of you do have the opportunities once you actually started and slowly to make your own earnings. So try to visit more to more places so that you will actually be able to understand more how this thing actually benefits you as well. Mm.
Like what Pope John Paul II said, the world right now is a global village. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, that is really true. I have to actually say that he really forecasted 100% correctly.
Yes. So more adventures for us, more travel for all of us. So see you again, Dr. Tan, and thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you once again. Thanks.